What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Refinement. My name is Chris. Thank you so much for joining me. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about 3 big problems that a lot of resellers have. Now, there's been a lot of posts on Instagram about how much people make, and everything resellers seem to cap out at around $200,000 in sales. And in this video, I'm going to talk about why. Me personally, over $1 million in sales, but I'm not doing this solo. The posts on Instagram are mainly people who are just doing it as a one-man or one-woman show. And I want to just go over 3 things I think that are holding these people back from getting to that next level. My guess is those people doing about $200,000 in sales solo are netting before tax between $40,000 and $50,000 profit per year. Might be a little bit higher or lower, but there's a lot of costs associated with running a store, like rent, cost of goods, and shipping. So I want to go over what I think those people need to do to get to the next level. Appreciate you guys. Please smash the like button. Consider subscribing. Let's get into it. Okay, so the first problem and the main problem is I think when you're an everything seller, you run out of time. So let's say, for example, you're selling a pair of shoes that you found at a thrift store, you're selling a microphone that you found from a pawn shop, and you're finding a GoPro that you found on Facebook Marketplace. So you have 3 different things that you're selling. When you do that, I think personally you lose at least 20 minutes of time when you switch from one thing to the next thing because the research is different, the storage is different, everything is different. So you lose 20 minutes each time. And everything seller in the 200,000 range usually has a 15 item a day limit. So if you count all that time, I would say people are losing 5 hours a day, switching from task to task to task. For me personally, we use a little timer or a little counter, and we can count how many items that we list. And we photograph 26 items an hour, and then when we list about 30 items an hour. So we don't lose that 20 minutes from switching tasks because it's all clothing. So I think it's important to realize when you're an everything seller, each time you switch tasks, I think you lose at least 20 minutes. So that's really holding you back when you want to get to the next level because you can only process maybe 15 items a day versus in my own system here per person, we process over 100 items a day. So that's one of the main differences is really just losing the time when you switch from item to item. Okay, guys, the number 2 problem with everything resellers is that they run out of space. So for me personally, if I sold shoes and clothing, maybe it would be okay because the storage system is similar. A lot of people are saying that they can't use my storage system because they sell different size items, but this is a big trench coat that wouldn't fit in one of the plastic bags. So this needs to go in a medium flat rate box, but it still fits in my inventory system. It's exactly the same. When it comes to shoes, all the shoes in my store are size 12 because I bought a collection from my friend, and sometimes I sell my own personal stuff, but this still fits in these bins, and I think that when you sell too many random things, you will run out of space. For me personally, I can fit 1,000 items per shelf. If I sold only shoes, it would be about 400 men's shoes or 700 women's shoes. So it depends on what you're selling, but too much space is required for you to be an everything seller. That's why for me personally, it's a lot cheaper to have less space. I think that because my system is so efficient, I need a lot less space. In a 2-car garage, I could still have a 10,000 item store. So it's important to understand when you sell everything, you need different shelf space, different bins. And if you use a rack system for clothing and a bin system, you lose time going from one system to the other. So I recommend one inventory system for whatever you sell. You don't need these specific boxes. You could use laundry baskets. You can use anything as long as you put your items in order sequentially so you can find them. But I think that people run out of storage when they sell too many types of categories. Problem number 3 seems like a big problem, but if you narrow down your niche, it's no longer a problem. So to give you guys the big secret on what I sell, I mainly sell shirts, I mainly sell jeans, I mainly sell pants, I mainly sell sweaters, and I mainly sell dresses. There will never be a shortage of those items. So because I sell common items, I don't need to spend as much time sourcing. When you sell clothing, you can essentially order it from online suppliers. As long as you have a way to move all the different kinds of inventory, you will be fine when you order. But going out and looking for clothing is usually not a problem. If you sell women's clothing specifically, like me, and you've been to a thrift store before, more than half of the store is women's clothing. So there is no shortage of supply when you pick women's clothing as a category. It does take a little bit more time to understand all the different styles, all the different features, but I think something like half of all online sales are clothing. So it's the biggest category. The reason why I picked the clothing category is because it's common. I sell common items, so I also make a smaller profit per item, but I can list over 100 items a day. People who are only looking for home runs, I consider a home run over $20 an hour. So, I'm sorry, over $20 per item. So I don't even have a high threshold for home runs. Some people think they need to make at least $100 profit for it to be considered a home run. But for me, $20 is plenty of profit, because if you can list 10 items an hour, which should be relatively straightforward, that's $200 an hour. That's as much as a doctor makes. So $20 for me is a home run. So I'm comfortable even with a $5, $7, $9, $12 profit on an item, as long as I don't have to spend too much time looking for it. So I think a lot of everything sellers sometimes blank. They'll go to 10, 12 stores, only find a few items. But for me, if I really had the stretch, I could get all of my items for the day from just one store. So it's really important to understand a lot of time is lost in sourcing for items that are really high profit, and sometimes you blank on those days. So kind of a bonus tip, there's another problem with reselling, which is that if you're not growing, you're rotting. So if you're not actually improving your store will continue to make less and less money until you go out of business. This is really strange, because most of the YouTubers that I grew up watching on YouTube to learn how to resell don't resell on eBay at all anymore. And if they do, they're at a smaller level than they were before. I've been improving my eBay store for 5 straight years. So if you guys have been watching this channel from when I was 10K on the bay and just doing this on the floor, my first inventory system was pile on the floor. So it just goes, slowly develops over time. You grow, you learn different methods, different techniques, different tips. If you guys need more individualized help, check out my Patreon group below, patreon.com/theresellerspodcast. In there, you can get detailed information on how to improve your store. You can get accountability. And most importantly, you can get on our Zoom calls and discuss with other like-minded individuals to get you to that next level. So I appreciate you guys. Until next time, make progress daily.